Hey guys, this is a ball of one, but 5 years later, this shit's crazy, right? Just what happened in my life, right? I went from in high school when COVID happened, I lost my prom, I lost my whole graduation. I walked to the podium and I didn't have my family around me. And I think looking back at everything that's happened in my life, there's no secret to the videos that I posted up even 5 years ago to where I'm at now in my life. Just as you guys can get an idea, I went to college for a whole year. I went to college for a whole year for myself and was going to go into marketing. And there's one thing about life that you guys got to realize is that nothing's guaranteed. Nothing. And you know what is also guaranteed? Usually, no matter somehow, some way, you're always gonna find a spot to sleep at night. You're always gonna. So never think to yourself, man, I can't do that thing because I might be on the street homeless or whatever. No. A lot of the times, your brain and your body are gonna do whatever is fucking needed to live with a shelter, with a roof over your head, with everything. And that's kind of the mentality that I lived on. Now, not once, what's so crazy is not once did I ever not have a home. Not once could I never pay my rent. I've been late before, but 5 years into actually growing up in myself, I'm 23 years old now. I make over $500,000 a year. I make the hours that I want for work, but it took a lot of work. It took a lot of fucking work. If anybody's out here watching this video, which I look back at it and it seemed like only, 20 people ever watch this shit, it's grind your ass off. There is so little amount of people out there that actually want to fucking grind their dick off and actually make some real money for themselves. And if you can be that 1%, literally that 1%, I kid you not, I can go meet 100 people and there's only one out of those 100 people that are willing to grind their dick off. If you can do that, you can fucking make a lot of things happen in your life. I rent a high riser here. I don't know if you guys can see, but this is what my view that I'm looking at right now while I'm recording this. I look at cruise ships coming into Tampa. I live in Tampa, right? I lived in Miami for 2 years. Was broke as shit. You know what gives you a lot of ambition is you being broke as shit, living with a bunch of people that live in life to the fullest. That's what Miami was. And I was lucky enough to be able to get an opportunity here in Tampa to work in insurance. I worked in insurance for 2 years, making zero fucking dollars, making 30 grand a year. Making 30 grand a year in Miami. That's like 20 grand. It's minimum. That's not even, that's poverty. And I just stuck with the insurance. I knew, okay, I could take this skill, I could try to do it. And I got into the right office in the right environment and I made this shit happen. You can do anything in this life if you stay perseverant. And one thing that really taught me about this stuff is that you need to grind your ass off. I'm sorry, you shouldn't be having kids. I'm sorry. There's a long time where I couldn't even download dating apps. Why? Because I didn't have money to take a girl out for dinner. How the fuck am I supposed to build my future up if I don't even have money for dinner to go take somebody out? Prioritize yourself. Be selfish with life. Because at the end of the day, when you're broke as shit and your kids are looking at you for fucking lunch money, or your kids are trying to buy the new pair of shoes, and you're fucking the broke ass dude that just decided to have kids in their 20s because, oh, I got nothing else to do with my life. Welcome to fucking reality, bro. And that's some real shit from a real man. High fucking key, bro. I've learned a lot of shit in life, and that's one thing is money solves a lot of fucking problems. It really does. If your mindset's right, money solves a lot of problems. Now, if you're a piece of shit, no amount of money is ever going to make you a good person. I hate to say it. And I've worked with a lot of shitty people in my life, too. I've worked with a lot of people that will use you, that just look at you as a dollar, that, man, they're friends until, hey, why'd you quit that job? See who actually reaches out to you. Oh, I moved to a different state. Who actually wants to come visit you? Ask those questions about yourself, because you'll be surprised that 1%, right? That 1% of people that you actually think are your friends and shit are actually going to be there long term. There's a lot of shit that happens in 5 years. You know what's crazy? I had all my high school buds and all these high school friends being the Cool Calm Collective. You had all these videos and shit of me, right? I thought I was the shit. I thought I had a ton of shit figured out for my life, right? Reality is the case is you invite these guys down to see you in Tampa, and you got this nice skyrise, you got the nice car, you got the nice job, you got the freedom to do whatever the fuck you want with life, right? And these guys can't even buy a $200 plane ticket to come see me because they're fucking bums. No offense. But if that relationship's not worth $200, it's not worth a relationship at all. High key. You can't hold your value on people, or you can't hold your ego on people that don't give a shit about you. Realistically, you don't. Right? It's never going to be the case. And it's called Dan Martell. If you guys don't know, Dan Martell is a very good realizer of this situation. You have to control your energy. There's only so much energy in the world that you can give out. I'm giving energy to this video right now because that's so funny to me how 5 years later I'm figuring this thing out as far as life goes, and I'm 23 years old. I got a lot of shit put together for my life. I've taken multiple vacations for myself. I've bought Corvette. I bought a brand new Corvette. I bought brand new SUVs. I bought all of it. And one thing is you got to guard your energy, because people will leech onto that motherfucker and use you. Your good heart, if you're a good person out there, and you can be real with yourself, there's a lot of people that aren't good people. There's a lot of people that use people. There's a lot of people that your only relationship is a transactional relationship. And if you feel like that's a lot of your life, you need to differentiate. Am I going to do this just based off of being a good person? Or am I going to be doing this just because I'm trying to use somebody? And don't try to mix the two together, because that's when it gets ugly, right? That's why the hardest thing about life a lot of the times is your friends, you know? It's hard to get friends out there. It really is, because a lot of people, especially the people that are your work friends, right? You're a business entity to them. You know, I've paid for people's rents and they've quit not even 60 days later. I paid your rent because you didn't have money for rent, and I've paid for that, right? And this is not me being animalistic or something. You got to learn to forgive these people. You can't learn to chew that up. Have that stuff eat you away. Because when you stop giving a fuck about relationships and you stop giving a fuck about how you treat people, how is that going to be for your kids? You know, you wonder why all these kids don't have a dad figure in their life. Well, yeah, you wonder why. Because most of the time, these father figures, they've had everybody try to use them their whole entire life. And last time they checked, they think their kid's using them. You got to teach your kids the art of pride and having a good soul. I really am a strong believer in that. You got to be able to build yourself as a man financially to where you don't need to put your ego, you don't need to put your identity on the shelf just to make a paycheck. Hate to say it. You need to have a self-identity. That's one thing that I've learned. And one thing is you got to be on your fucking grind. And I'm going to be real with you guys. You know, I always thought, man, I'm on my grind and stuff. And there's always things that you always choose to neglect. Your brain does a really good fucking job at giving yourself some excuses. You always hear the people that give you every single excuse why they can't work out, right? Oh, I can't go to the gym because, oh, my legs are, you know, I have this blood issue or whatever. I can't force me to work out. Really? Because you're 300 pounds. What if you just lost some weight, right? There's a lot of limitations that people have out there for your life. But there's one thing that I've always seen to be true, is that you can do anything that you set your mind to. It doesn't matter what it is. It really doesn't. Anything. Now, also too with that as well, right? The limitations in your brain. I think one limitation that a lot of people think is, man, I can't live sober, or they give a great ass excuse of why they got to be smoking weed or drinking or whatever the fuck the case is, right? Smoking. I used to be a chronic nicotine smoker. I used to smoke about a pod every 2 to 3 days of a jewel pod. I used to smoke. That's probably equivalent to, I was smoking about 3 packs worth of cigarettes a week. And that's joules, right? That's not even that. I stopped that when I was 21 years old. I stopped that at my New Year's resolution. I said, when I was like 2022, at the start of 2022, I was like, man, I'm not going to be 40, 50 years old smoking nicotine pouches no more. And I know the hell this shit's going to kill me eventually. So I stopped. You know how many days I went thinking about nicotine for every single second of my life? I went 8 months of thinking about nicotine. Every day. Every day. You got to have God in your life, man. You really do. You got to be able to push through the hard shit, because everything in life is hard. You got to choose your heart. And I recently did that with weed and alcohol too. I would work this sales job and I'd be making $500,000 a year as a leadership role. But every time I would go home, smoking up the weed every night. Take, a nightcap. That's what they call them. That's called bullshit for your fucking goals. I hate to say it. Bull fucking shit. If you got to numb the pain for your life, man, the hardest thing in life is to be sober. That's the hardest thing in life. And why do you think God rewards it so much? Why do you think there's so many health consequences of drinking every night? Why do you think there's so many mental, right? You have all these dopamine receptors. Man, I've been sober for fucking 3 weeks now. I cut everything out starting August of 2025. I've been sober for 3 weeks now. And there's one thing that I've seen. Weed kills your momentum in life. Weed puts this facade that your life's okay, but you can't be able to look at yourself in the mirror when you're sober. Why do you got to smoke weed on your Sunday? Why do you got to smoke weed when you're off work? Do you just not like yourself when you're off work? That's a common problem that I see with a lot of sales individuals. And you got to wake the fuck up sometimes and realize that I'm me. And no one else gives a fuck about me besides me. And if I'm not choosing to live my life, right? If my life identity is based on me just doing drugs to feel good about myself, that's pretty fucked up, right? You got to have the identity for yourself and be like, man, do people like me when I'm just high? Or do people like me when I'm just drinking, right? Or do I only and ask yourself that question. Do I only like myself when I'm high? Or do I only like myself when I have a drink or two in me? You got to have those real questions for yourself, man. And the easiest way to look at this stuff and why it's such a big deal is read the Bible. This shit was fucking 2,000, 3,000 years old, a lot of this stuff, right? Proverbs is a great book in the Bible to read. If you don't know one book to read, I would read the Proverbs. Be real with yourself, man. Because like me, I went through rags to riches in insurance, still doing drugs. And you know what's crazy is your brain does a really good job of giving you excuses, no matter what the fuck it is. Gives you a really good excuse of why you need to continue doing that stuff. And it's only you doing the self-discipline of that stuff. It's no different than waking up early. Do I wake up early? No, I hate waking up early, right? But I know if I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning every day, I'm giving myself the excuse of, man, I make my own hours now. I don't really need to. And plus, most people aren't buying insurance at 5 o'clock in the morning. You give yourself a pretty good excuse, right? Now think about what you do for weed. Oh, I just do it because there's no health consequences or anything. Really? Last time I checked, if you have to alter your dopamine boosters just to smoke some weed every night and you can't look at yourself in the mirror sober, try going a month sober with your weed. And then you realize, man, why the fuck am I smoking this shit? I went 3 weeks one time. This was about a year ago where I didn't smoke. I started 75 hard. I went through 50 days worth of 75 hard. And I didn't smoke any weed either. And you're like, man, wow, I'm surprised. You start remembering days. You start having dreams. Man, I didn't have a dream for 4 years because I was smoking weed every night. What do you think that does to your brain? I'll tell you what it does. Makes you forget a lot. Makes you forget a lot about the pain. And some people smoke for the pain away. Some people do it for the enjoyment. It doesn't matter. Unless you got severe PTSD from the shit that you maybe had happened in war or something like that, I get that. But you need to cope with that with weed or with a different kind of thing like CBD, something that doesn't cause you to dream and have nightmares and stuff like that. There's ways to go about it, and I can understand people that do it. But the hardest thing in life is to stay sober. You know how easy it is to pick up a bottle? You know how easy it is to smoke a joint? You know how easy it is to hit a cart? You know how easy it is to smoke a nicotine pouch? This is some real talk. This is what I've learned after 5 years of going through everything. Is sobriety is the number one thing that leads to success. God wants you sober. There is so much scripture that says about sobriety being the number one cause of success and being consistent, grinding your dick off no matter what the fuck happens in life, because no one's coming to save you. That common expression is really true. I've lived independently for a lot of my life. And it's the people in your blood, right? Like for example, I have my sister. It's the people that are going to pick you up when you're at your lowest for you to realize that. A lot of you guys are going to watch this video and be like, oh, okay, yeah, well, I'll just moderate it. No, because there's going to be one day like I was where I fucking forgot what day it was. I was doing drugs every day. I was in a transition between positions where I was just going to go full remote for myself. And I was moving into a new place. And it was 2 weeks till I moved into this house. And I woke up one day after moving into this house. I didn't even realize I was living into this apartment for a week. And I had a girlfriend at the time, and and she's like, "Hey, are you going to work today?" And I'm like, "What day is it?" "It's Monday." Bro, what? I didn't even know what fucking day it was. That was my wake up call. Some people's wake up call is when they have cirrhosis and their liver's failing. Some people's wake up call is when their kids fucking hate their shit because they've just been a druggie their whole life. What's your fucking wake up call? Maybe it's this video. But that's what I gotta give you guys here. I'm gonna start doing these videos and shit at least once a week here, just to give you some real talk of just what it takes. Because I make over $500,000 a year right now, and I feel fucking good about it. And also too, I don't have to smoke my problems away like I did 2-3 weeks ago, or yeah, at the start of August. So now I'm going on almost a month now. It's at the end of August of 2025. I've been going on this for a month now. Being sober is the most honoring thing you could do to the Lord, for God and for Jesus. And also too, you realize, man, weed does a really good job at thinking like, if you're stuck on the grind and you're stuck in the momentum of things, of like you just thinking like you're okay. But sometimes you lose track of like what's actually important to you, right? You want all these goals for yourself, but who's going to be the guy to actually keep you in check? Or just got to grind again today. And then boom, like me. Over 3 years went by in my life and I didn't even fucking realize it. So have some reality check for yourself and make that thing a reality for you. Sky is the limit. The Notorious B.I.G. said that, and I'm gonna live to the fullest because, ironically enough, sky is the fucking limit, guys. Have a great day.